go. Let's have a check on the mic check. Is this right?
Hello.
Hey there. All right, Kelly. I'm gonna ask Kelly one question right now. I got a single file. Kelly, April 16th, 1989. This is before these guys even joined the team. I believe, actually. Maybe Ward was there. Kelly, you were the first Blue Jay in history to hit for the cycle. What do you remember about that day?
What I remember about that day, let's see, I didn't know what a cycle was. I thought they were calling me Psycho. I got the first. Yeah, I swear, I did not know what a cycle was. And thank God I probably would have choked it, you know, but I get to first, the worst hit of all day, right? I get to first, and everybody's standing ovation and shaking my hand, and this is the worst hit all day long. And I said, these Canadians are whacked. They don't know a thing about baseball. Little did I know what a cycle was, right? And that's the thing I remember most, believe it or not.
People claim that you got stopped at first base, but it was like a late inning hit, and you guys were up by a lot. You had 6 RBIs that day. Yeah, so it was kind of like you weren't going to rub it in and run for a double. I don't know if you got stopped by the first base coach for the single?
Well, they say I did. Billy Smith, if I remember right. Basically, once I hit the ball, what happens a lot of times is you end up indirectly talking to the ball. Get down, get down, get down. You want another hit, right? I'll take them any way I can get them. And it was one of those Texas Leaguers or bloopers or whatever.
Duck Star.
Yeah, that too. And I was talking to him. Well, when I figured out that's got a chance, it might fall, and I might have a base hit, I better start running because I forgot to do that. and I actually running in towards the mound when I realized, hey, that's gonna fall. And I look back at first, and it's way back over here. I'm way out of the baseline. So in reality, I probably wouldn't have made it. I
watched it today multiple times now. It would have been
close.
And it was like 5 runs ahead, so you guys, it was a classy move.
Right, and if I would have been running right off the bat, yeah, there's no doubt I wouldn't have had to cycle because I didn't know what it was.
I love it. All right, carrying on. Hold on, young man. All right, this gentleman was the epitome of a workhorse for the Jays. He made over 300 appearances as a reliever over a 4-year span, including 81 in 1991, which led American League pitchers in games played. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dwayne Ward! All right, the first thing I got for notes for you, young man. I'm going back to your youth. You played high school football in Farmington, New Mexico for the Scorpions. And you played at Connie Mack League. Tell us about Connie Mack to you, what that meant in your neighborhood.
Well, Connie Mack, if you guys don't know what it is, up here it's basically 17, 18-year-old kids playing that league. It's like other people's American Legion or whatever. But I had the opportunity that you mentioned, Connie Mack, to actually play in the Connie Mack World Series because we hosted the Connie Mack World Series. So home team got a host team in there. So I was fortunate at 17 to play in that World Series.
What did you guys do?
Got beat.
Went to the finals.
You know what? No, it wasn't in the finals.
Oh,
we got beat by a team out of Massachusetts, and I pitched that game, and we got beat 2-1. And the only run we scored is I hit a solo home run. So
there you go. And now you were starting pitcher back then.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When did you get converted to playing bullpen games?
You know what? I started my whole minor league career. And when I got to the big leagues, it was as a reliever with the Atlanta Braves. And then got traded over here, and I had to wait for a spot to open up on the big club. So I went down to Syracuse for about a month, and I went back to starting. And then got called back up to the big leagues with the Jays, and went back into the bullpen. So it was a way for me to get to the big leagues was a reliever. So I embraced it and never looked back. So he gave me a big league uniform and let me play in big league ballparks.
I love it. Thank you so much, Dwayne. Here we go. We're going to bring on our last but not least guest, of course. Everybody knows who this gentleman is. With an unforgettable smile, this 5-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger Award winner, twice was part of the final play in the World Series. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Joe Carter. from the stop. Anytime you guys want to jump in. Listen, you two, quit fooling around already.
We just know that you guys don't have anything to do right now, do you? Because Joe's going to talk for about an hour and a half.
What are you trying to say, Wardo?
No, I just know that you'll have a lot to say because I'm going to refer questions to you too.
I will encourage that, by the way. You guys got questions, you're first to ask. A lot of people don't know some of the early part of Joe's career. Joe was a monster before he became a Blue Jay. He was a multiple-time All-Star before that. He was a 30-30 guy before 30-30 was cool. Joe played for the Cleveland Indians to start. Got traded. So, at that time when you got traded, there was kind of a free agency arbitration issue. Is that true? Like what I'm reading is that
I got traded from
Cleveland to San Diego. That was kind of the process there. I think that they were afraid to sign you or didn't want to. Like you were asking to play out your contract.
No, well, they offered me a contract. In fact, it was the same contract that the Blue Jays had signed Tony Fernandez to, but the Indians offered me a contract, a 5-year deal, only 3 years guaranteed. And I said no. I said guarantee all 5 years, I'll sign it. I didn't want to have 2 years option. It didn't make any sense to me. So they said no. So I said, well, I'm not going to sign it. So they traded me, and that would have been the next year would have been my free agent season.
So
see, that was short.
I was wondering how that went about. And you
For the
got
first time.
you got traded for a couple of snipers actually. Sandy Alomar, Chris James, you were some Carlos Baerga. So they were out thousands of games.
Bad ball players.
I don't think it worked out for Cleveland in the end for a long, long, long time. But you moving on to the San Diego Padres, and then quickly getting traded after one season with San Diego. Kind of unique to you. Was there a reason why that happened, do you think? Or
Yeah, it happened because I bought a house in San Diego. Am I right? The rule of thumb is never buy a house where you play at because you always get traded. I bought a house in San Diego. I was there for 1 year. I got traded 1 year to the date when I signed with San Diego, and I was back here in Canada.
we're all very happy for that. That started a run of playoffs for our team, 91, 92. We were in there in 80. I'm saying we like I'm a Blue Jay because I've got this jersey on, but we owned you guys as a country, really. You know what I mean? There was Montreal Expos back in the day, but you guys were our team around here for sure. So that started a run of 3 playoffs in a row that were the first year, the 91. Maybe you guys can talk on that together, mull amongst yourselves, on what that playoff meant after you guys got beat by the Minnesota Twins with Kirby Puckett and Ken Hrbek.
I got one thing to say. I think correct me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
Wait.
Right on.
I haven't even started yet. It's not fair. See how you treat me? Okay. We beat Minnesota that year 11 out of 15 times. Is that right?
Crazy.
And 13 out of 15, 11 out of 13 times we beat Minnesota, and they're the world champs. That don't sit well with me. But that's the way it happened. That's all I do.
Yeah, you guys were determined. I remember the Toronto media was kind of hard on you guys because you made the playoffs yourself a couple of times before that. In '89, you like unsuccessful against Detroit. But that '91 team was like, we're loaded up, you know. And then I remember you said something after that series, like you were injured in that series too. You had a bad peg.
Well, I got injured in, I believe it was game 4, because we split there. The thing that was tough was because we ended the season in Minnesota, playing them 3 games that really didn't matter, and then we just stayed there and played the next 2 games that really did matter. So I think I was hurt because it was 1-1, 2-1-3. I was hurt in game 4 when I hurt my ankle trying to catch what was his name, Shane Mack's ball off the wall there. Yeah. So I sprained my ankle there really bad. But you know, for us to be in the playoffs, at least for me, that was the first time a lot of us had experienced being in the playoffs on a professional level. And you know, we were excited about being there. And then when we got swept at home by the Twinkies, you know, I can remember sitting in the clubhouse on the floor, and I was talking to Pat Tabler, and I was like, I mean, it was a dejected feeling. It was a bad feeling, and I told him, I said, this is not going to happen this year. I said, you know what? From this day forward, we're thinking about what we're going to do in '92, and anything short of winning the World Series is not going to materialize. It's not going to happen. And so from that day when we got beat, you know, we tell everybody, hey, next year if you're not on board, this is what we're going to do. So we came out with those shirts in spring training. We had everybody focused. We said, look, it's World Series, not getting there, but win the World Series. That was all that we had in our minds for 92.
Well, your role changed from 91 to 92, actually. You became like the main setup guy for Tom Henke. You were kind of that guy, but there was a few other guys in there. Ike Horn, who else was in that bullpen?
No. You know what? I pretty much set up Tom from about 80.
89?
There was a few years before then. It was about
73.
1887. No, I think, you know, pretty much, 87, 88 is when I took over just basically setting up for Tom. Because I think what it was is Jimmy Williams, you know, liked me coming in there.
So I seen what I was.
But let me tell you something, because I was on the other end and in Cleveland, and we'd much rather I'd rather hit in the 9th inning than hit in the 8th inning, because, you know, facing Wardo in the 8th inning, I'm like, nah, I want to hit in the 9th inning off Henke. Because Henke, I'm saying,
that ain't easy.
Henke, yeah, that's not as easy, but with him, it was even tougher.
What was the hardest pitch he had that made you?
Oh, the one I hit out, that was the hardest one. I had to get that in.
No. I knew Joe was going to go there on that. Okay?
He's going to say
I think
I
think there was about. I think I gave up probably. What is it? Honestly, I think I gave up probably anywhere from 3 to 5 home runs a year.
Against right-handers.
And against right-handers, okay, I'll tell you what. Joe, that was in '86, wasn't it?
I think it was 87.
It was 87? Okay, because 87, Joe was the last right-handed hitter to hit a home run off me until 1993 when Cal Ripken got me. Okay? Ripken got me.
One thing about Wardo knows, he knows these things like the back of his hand. I'm serious.
But the thing is, I remember when we got Joe in '91, you know, he talked about that home run he hit off me. And I'll tell you what, it was, you know, the first
500 feet.
No, you know what? It was about 500 feet. But about the first 150 were legit. The last 400 or 350 was wind blown. And he does talk about that wind because he knew it was windy that day. And he got it up in that jet stream. And I'll tell you what, our left fielder just kept drifting back. Going back, and then eventually he ran out of room. That's why we said it was a wind-blown home run. So,
sort of like that movie on Major League. They go, oh, it's too high. It's not going to get out.
No, I just said if it's too high, it's got to get in that jet stream.
Both of them remember every pitch.
You got to have bragging rights.
I can't even remember the cycle. I didn't even know what that was. Each and every pitch. It's like just another game, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Just another home run.
You probably thought it was an exercise class.
Yeah.
Kelly from the Bad News Bears, everybody. Hey. So your best pitch was your slider. Like when I'm watching today, I'm seeing you just crush people with that, drift away from people.
Well, I mean, you know, you got to have something else besides, you know. And actually, it wasn't a slider; it was a curveball. I just threw it as hard as I could. However it came out, it came out. But, you know, I liked my fastball as much as I liked my breaking ball, but my breaking ball was, you know, if I got a guy 2 strikes on him, I'm going to try.
See, that's the thing about Wardo. He's got the sinker that comes in and breaks this way, and he's got the slider that does just the opposite. So you better pick one and not swing at the other.
From a hitter's standpoint, and I will say this, his breaking ball, and then also Juan Guzman, because as a hitter, you talk to hitters on the other team, and they go, man, I hate Wardo. So I hate when he comes in because he throws that split finger every time. And I'm like, that's not a split finger. You go, no, that's a split finger fastball. I said, no, that's his curveball. He goes, no way. But he's right, because he threw it so hard, it had the action of a split fingered fastball, and so did Juan Guzman. And Guzman, now here's the thing. Wardo would keep throwing that pitch. Guzman got just as many strikeouts on that curveball that he threw that everybody thought was a sinker. And so the one year we come back one year and Guzman's on the mound, I'm playing first base. And, you know, Guzman always took his time. So we had to have stretching videos in the outfield at first base because he was real slow. And so he came to spring training. He goes, I want to be able to throw my breaking ball for a strike, a call strike. And I looked at him, I said, why? Yeah. I said, when they swing at it, it's a strike because he had a 94, 95 mile an hour fastball. So they swung at that breaking ball so many times and it was never a strike. I said, are you stupid? When they swing at it, it's a strike. Don't worry about getting a call strike. When they swing at it, the umpires call it a strike. But Wardo, heat to heat, throw it every time. And you couldn't do anything about it. So the idea was to get the first or second strike, because once you got 2 strikes, you may as well go back to the dugout.
It's funny you brought up Guzzi. We'd sit down in the bullpen and always have an over and under. How many dirt balls he's going to throw. Before the game even started. I mean, his fastball, I'm telling you, when he had bad days, his fastball would go about 45 feet. Okay, so we'd be down in the bullpen going, okay, there's going to be 35 of them, there's going to be 27. We had to have an over and under what it's going to be, so.
What was the over and under with Cy, though? What'd y'all do with him?
You know what, Cy would just, he would bounce everything, and then all of a sudden he'd just find home plate. Like the
on that Dave Steve.
Dave Steve. I mean,
but also, how many times he did
himself. But
Eating hot dogs.
Dave was one of those guys. Dave was one of those guys. Though, that, he threw a wiffle ball. I mean, I'm not kidding you. It's just, and he couldn't teach you how to throw it. He just knew how to throw it. It seemed like a wiffle ball.
Dave Steve's no-hitter was in '89?
89.
Against Cleveland. And you were already gone that year.
I was gone. Yeah, he wasn't going to no-hit us.
Actually,
he should have did it the year before because it was 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th and Julio Franco's up. He hits a routine 2-hopper to Manny Lee at second base, and the first hop, good hop. Second hop, good hop. And the last hop, it hits something and bounces over his head. And it was like, I'm like, because we should have been. Because I think he had 2 in a row where he lost a no-hitter in the bottom of the 9th.
He had that one, and then the very next start.
Against the Orioles.
Against the Orioles, had 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. For another, Jim Traber threw a little thing over first base, and then his very first start the next year. Against the Yankees, he took 2 no-hitter, 2 outs in the 9th. And Roberto Kelly got that double down the line, so
he was not very pleasant to be around.
It was kind of cool.
Tell us, Kelly. Tell us how pleasant he was. I got another question for you. I'll go with another question for you, Kelly. Game 4 of the '92 World Series. Something you knocked yourself out on home league.
Game 4. Kelly can't remember day 4. Before I turned 4, I remember that.
Well, what I have read about that is that you don't remember that game in itself because you hit your face off home plate and then knocked yourself out.
It's a plow.
Yeah,
I remember.
You ate it pretty good. And then the best part is, in my mind, when I watched that game today, is they would try to attack you on defense after you bonked your face. They bunted to you, and they had a hot shot.
Dirty, rotten scoundrels.
Dirty, rotten brains. That's what I thought too.
Teach them a lesson. Come on, bring it on. No, I remember it. I remember. Yeah, I wasn't very pleasant either, but it was. But I lost all my strength in my left side.
Yeah, somebody said you had a rotator cuff injury after.
Yeah, well, I blew it. I had the injury 3.5 weeks in the season, played, and then I go for Sanders, blew it out totally.
On the game 2.
Anybody can play when they're healthy.
Yeah, it's when
Yeah, that's right. We've been waiting for that.
I found out.
They want to get you a game 4, but believe because of game 2 actually, because of the job.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they wanted to attack you after you. That was one of the best moments. And then they started the job, almost getting the job.
And then Rob copied me at home and said, "Come on, can't you get your own thing going on?" But no, there's 60,000 fans doing it to me, but I can't go back to them.
It was beautiful. We all loved it very much from home. After they screwed up our flag and they wanted to redo, they came up to the 3rd.
We noticed in game 2. I mean, that was probably the pivotal game because if you remember, John Smoltz threw a wild pitch and Robbie scored. They called him out at home plate early. And the American League umpire Mike Riley called him out.
Guys remember stuff, eh?
We were this close to going down 2-0 until until the trenches came through. Derek Bell and Ed Sprague in the top of the ninth there. So huge hit.
Now, one of the funny things about that series itself is the Hall of Famer this year, Jack Morris. How did he do in that World Series for us?
Well,
Jack did good. You know, he got into innings that we needed him to get into. He didn't get the W's that he should have.
Oh, you got the L's.
He got the L's, but I mean, he took us into that game in the 6th and the 7th inning stuff. Where you got to remember, we don't have 18 guys in the bullpen back then. Like they do now.
Yeah.
We had 5, plus 2 starters, so we had 7 guys in the bullpen. Okay, we didn't have 8 guys in that bullpen like they do nowadays. So I mean, for a starter to go in, when he doesn't have this good stuff, for him to get into that 6th, 7th inning, that is such a relief on the relievers, because now we're having to look at it and say, we ain't got to pick up so many innings in so many days in a row. So Jack did his job as far as getting us into those, deep into the game to where now our bullpen can possibly hold them so we can come back and win some ball games.
Jack played for the Twins the year before, then came along to the Jays that year, and ironically, Dwayne, you won 2 games in the World Series in 1992. You were the winner of 2 games.
Thanks to Jack, no.
No, yeah, maybe part of that, because you got an opportunity, but because of Sprague's home run, the 2 winning pitchers, there was only 2 of them, it was you and Jimmy P. Both won all the 4 games in the World Series. So
I won game 2 and game 3, and then Jimmy won game 4 and 6.
6, correct, yeah. So Jimmy came in as a reliever in 6.
We're talking about Jack Morris, and wasn't it funny? I mean, Jack is he's the ultimate competitor. I mean, he wants to win everything that he puts his mind to. But I always called Jack Mr. Miserable, because he was always miserable. And after he would warm up before he was pitching, he'd be in the bullpen warming up, and then he'd have that long walk to the dugout before the game started. And every single game, he would walk into the dugout, and he'd look at the offense and go, "Okay, boys, I never lost with 10. I'm like, 10?
Shit, he would do that when he walked into the clubhouse.
He always wanted 10 runs. And I said, "Jack, you never lost when you gave up 0 either." Shut out, we'll get you 1. Yeah, he wanted 10 runs every single time. And then another guy, the next year we get Dave Stewart, and Dave Stewart was just the opposite. Dave was like, "Don't get me no runs. The first 3 or 4 innings, I don't want any runs." I'm like, "Shoot, if I get a chance to hit a home run." But, no, he didn't want any runs, but Jack wanted 10 runs every time he pitched.
Dave Stewart actually no-hit the Jays when he was in Oakland, and then that was the same year Steve got his. Like 2 weeks later, I believe, it was Junior Felix catching gave Steve's final.
And that was the same day that Fernando Reynolds and Baylor had. Yeah.